know who it is?
Who?
You know a lot of my secrets. And that's how I don't get how 50 and Floyd, Cam and Mace, Cam and Jim Jones.
Yeah.
I don't
I did
see
not
how they
expect
do it.
that.
Could you imagine if you and I legit was beefing and going back and forth online, the type of things that we would say about each other that we know about each other?
Look, man. Yeah.
What up? This is the Spare No Effort podcast. We are back again. I am Jeremy Jennings. I'm here with my guy, my brother, Mr. Derek Jackson.
Yo, what's good, my brother?
What up? What up? How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Glad to be home. What about yourself?
I heard that. Likewise, likewise. We are recording this on a Tuesday. So how's your day going? How's your week rather going so far?
It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's still early, anything can happen, but so far so good.
Yeah, it's funny. Don't like to speak too soon, right? That's something my lady and I kind of differ.
Mm-hmm.
Where we differ, I don't like to speak on anything until it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you are similar, right? I don't like
Yeah,
to speak on
definitely.
anything, especially good, until it happens, because I think I'm gonna jinx myself. Or the way things tend to work out for me is if I get too excited for it, more times than not, it won't happen, or it won't happen
Yeah.
the way I think it'll happen. Can you kind of
Mm-hmm.
relate to that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's why I try to keep things to myself. Well, like you said, don't speak on it too early. It's, you know, how work goes, how life goes, man, anything can happen.
Yeah, yeah. And it's always like a we'll see. I'm always like a we'll see. Let's just let it play out, right?
Yeah. Give it time.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. While we're on the topic of my lady, right, and it's something I wanted to wait until we got on this platform to discuss
Mm-hmm.
with you, right?
Gotcha.
So over the weekend, my lady and I was chilling, and I forgot honestly how we got on this topic, but we were talking about me meeting her family,
Mm-hmm.
right, and some friends, and she always says how she's worried about my interaction with her family or friends,
Yeah.
right, and the reason she worry about it is because, and I've talked to you about this before, I don't do well with the family intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is, especially like when a guy, sometimes women, for a guy, when you meet a young lady's family, your lady, your girlfriend, your wife, or whatever the case may be, a lot of times they like to do this intimidation
A
thing with you,
little
right?
scare tactic.
Yeah, I've never done well with that.
Mm-mm.
I've never, and you've seen it in person, on an
Yeah.
occasion or two, right? I've never done well with that. And I'm, man enough to admit it. Yeah, I don't agree with the whole intimidation, even if it's playful or not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, what I want to ask you truthfully, because you've seen me in this setting, am I really that bad when it comes to these situations?
I don't know how bad the level that she put you at, but I wouldn't say you're that bad. We just come from a area where you just can't run that shit by us, man. The scare
Right,
tactic,
right.
and then most of the case that we've been in, the person that trying to scare you haven't even been that impactful in their lives. You know,
Yeah, that's what's funny. That's
yeah.
what's funny, right?
Whether it's the dad, the uncle, cousin, we just don't go
Uh-huh.
well. And for the simple fact with me is, I never want you to think that you got something over me, because you can cause a slippery slope. You
Uh-huh.
scare me right now, later in life, on down the line. Now you trying to get over on me. I don't want you to think for any moment, that you are above me, you can get over on me, you can outsmart me, just definitely just from not trying to, scare somebody. Like,
Yeah, you got to nip it in the bud, right? And I do
yeah,
think,
very early.
and I can't speak for everyone, and let me be clear, I am not a tough guy. I don't consider myself a tough guy by any means, right? I
Mm-hmm.
try to be respectful, show everyone respect. I just don't do well because I know it's playful most of the time, but it's also like I don't do well with threats,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how I think about it, it's a couple of things. One is I try to be respectful, to everyone I
Right.
meet. I try to wake up and be a good person every day. So you really don't, I feel like you don't even have to approach me in that way, first off,
Mhm.
right? And I also think about the simple fact that I have loved ones, right? I
Yeah.
have a family, right? My mother, God rest her soul, she's gone. Mother, brothers, cousins, friends, right? And I think about what they would think if they heard someone approach me that way. It wouldn't go well,
Mhm.
right? In the same way, I wouldn't like it if I was there and someone did my family, someone in my family or a friend that way, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how I think about it. I got people that care about me, don't play with me like that.
Mhm.
And I'm not no tough guy. Just don't play with me like that,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I'm not a tough guy either. Of course, you know that. You grew up with me. But I just treat these situations all the same. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna take a threat lightly from anyone, whether it
Right.
is family or not. I'm not gonna. And for a stranger to walk up on me, try to threaten me, and then it'll piss me off more for those who try to put it in a joking way.
Mm-hmm.
That'll
Because
make
there's
me
some
more
truth in a
mad.
lot of jokes.
Yeah, a lot of truth in it. Because they try to play that fence. You know what I'm saying? You get too upset. Oh, I was just playing. Like, nah,
Yeah.
no, you would. This is a thing that a lot of families do. Try to scare the boyfriend or the girlfriend. Like, move on.
Right. Right. And the thing is, even if it is, let's say it is truly 100% a joke, right?
Hmm.
If we just met, you don't know me well enough to joke with me like that.
Yeah.
Truthfully. You and I joke, we'll joke and all of that stuff with each other or with each other's family, but we got years and years of friendship,
Hmm.
right? But somebody I'm just meeting, I wouldn't do them like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah.
You know what
Was
I mean? And
that
you, oh, go ahead. My apologies.
nah, I was thinking about Bad Boys,
Yeah,
when they
yeah, yeah.
and that's what I was thinking about that scene, but go ahead.
Yeah, but that stuff don't, yeah, it just don't work on, I'll speak for us, it don't work on us when you try to
Nah.
approach us in that way. Once again, we're not tough guys, but it's about respect. We'll give you respect, please. We expect the same, right? But I do want to ask you really quick because you are in a situation to where you have kids and daughters, right?
Hmm.
So do you kind of see it differently now that you have a daughter? Or is it going to be like your approach? Is it just going to be the same as if you would meet anyone that your kids bring home?
Yeah, yeah. I don't look at it no different. I'm not gonna try to threaten my daughter's boyfriend.
Right, right,
If I feel like I need to have a talk with him, then I will have a talk with him. If he do something, that rubs me wrong, I'm gonna address it right at the moment.
right, right.
If I just meet him, that's gonna be years down the line. So I can't speak too much on, she's only 5, so I can't speak too
Mm-hmm,
much on my perspective at that moment. But right now, if she was to bring someone in, I'm gonna
mm-hmm,
introduce myself, be open to them, whatever the case may be.
mm-hmm.
I probably would do this my daughter, like if they're going on a date or something, take care of her. They going out to
Yeah,
prom, take care of her
yeah,
type. I'm not finna, hey, I got a shotgun, or
yeah.
they walk in, I'm loading it up or cleaning the barrel, some
Hey,
shit.
yeah, come on in. As you cleaning your gun, though, right? Yeah, it's because, and I told my lady, anyone that's been around my family, they can say that we never approach them that way, and we always welcome people with respect, right? So that's how I was raised, but also I was raised like nobody is about to treat me that way. I don't care who it is. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's just something I just don't. And once again, if we joking, and I always say this because it's also I thinking logically. How do you think this is gonna go?
Right,
Right?
right,
And
right.
it's like, okay, you got people that's with it. You don't think I got people that's with it
Hmm.
that would ride for me?
Right.
That's what really bothered me too. And I'm not for violence, especially at this point in my life. So it's kind of not
Yeah.
wise to
And
say
then
something like
thinking
that.
about it in the moment, I probably would get more mad than any other moment, because if we ride your people, I'm talking like, say if it's her uncle, her daddy, cousin, or somebody, brother, and you got your people with you, I'm gonna feel like you trying to front on me also. So I might
Right,
even want to
right.
turn up even more because you
Yeah,
got your people. You think I'm finna bow down? Like,
yeah,
nah.
and it's like, no, now if we're gonna be respectful, let's be respectful. I'm not about to
Mm-hmm.
approach you that way. right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
no, we're just not doing none of that, man. Respectfully, right? I'm
Right.
just not doing that. And so I do want to get to this because you
Mhm,
have witnessed me with we both have experienced because we dated some sisters at a point in time. And
mhm.
we both had to deal with I'm trying to say it nicely. I guess
Deal with
have
this moment.
encounters. It was respectful, never was disrespectful. We both had experiences with their father, right? But if you remember, it was a situation to where, because I was dating his daughter, he wanted me to come up and have a conversation with him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Once
yeah.
again, respectfully, if I come into your home, I'ma speak. If I see you anywhere else, I'ma speak.
Mhm.
Right. But I'm not about to sit up here and come and have a conversation with you and plead. Now, if you want to talk to me, we can talk all day long. Right. I just
Right.
didn't see the point of like coming to intentionally pull you aside and have a
Mhm.
conversation with you just because I'm dating your daughter. Right.
Yeah,
Now, if
yeah,
you want to
yeah.
get to know me, come and talk to me, come and get to know me. But I just didn't see the reasoning behind that.
Mhm.
So what do you think about that? Let me know if I was tripping in that situation. And
Nah,
it's
you wasn't
okay.
tripping. Nah, you definitely wasn't tripping because I felt the same way. I didn't feel like there was no need. I denied it, the first few times, but the sister that I was dating, she really wanted it. So I did it on the behalf of her, you know,
Mm-hmm.
on the behalf of her. And it still didn't come off the way he wanted. I can be pretty
Yeah, it
respectful.
didn't. It did. Yeah.
I think in these moments, you probably will get more upset. Well, not more, but you would get upset quicker than me.
Me,
Yeah, yeah, I believe you would.
especially back then. Back
Yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah.
especially.
I
Yeah.
can, I can, take and be like, man, without even, showing any type of emotions or surrender to him at all, because that's how it was. He did his little dad talk. I'm like, man, you really could have done this over the phone, but I understand going about my business, but just speaking on you, nah, man, I don't think it was disrespectful. You stood your grounds. You just like you a man of stuff just have to make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, it did make sense. We weren't even at the point. I think I was further in the conversation of marriage than you were.
Because y'all were dating longer. Y'all were
Yeah, yeah,
dating
yeah,
longer
yeah. We
too.
we was
Yeah.
courting, of course.
Right. Right. Right.
So is that was in the line. That was supposed to be the next step, according to
Mm-hmm.
the plan from the beginning. So I kind of understood it more for me have the conversation with him. I don't know if he
Mm-hmm.
thought because we was friends and you was dating the other sister, then you was just gonna come in and just have the conversation that he wanted to have. It was a pointless conversation, to be honest. And like I said,
Well,
you could have done it over the phone, and then also this wasn't even the first meeting
right.
between
This
all of
wasn't
us. Like
right. We've been around him a lot. Me and her were friends all the way back to high school.
right?
So I had met him on several occasions. So it's like, okay, you've been around me. If you didn't think I was good enough to be friends with her, you feel me? You should have said something at that point. But I'm not good
Yeah.
enough to date her. And on top of that, she kind of made the mistake of telling me some things he said about me. And it's like, okay, he really
Hmm.
don't know me like that. So I'm really not about to make no effort because he's making a judgment
Yeah.
on me. You know what I mean? And so it's like, come and talk to me then, because I'm not about
All
to
right.
come and kiss you behind just to, date or be in a relationship with your daughter.
Mhm. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Especially when I'm not trying to be on that. I'm
And
not
I
on that. Right.
and I was just
Go
gonna
ahead,
say I
sorry.
forgot all about that part too. So that made it more of a reason for you not to even want to go after, finding out what he
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
so, but make no mistake about it. If this is a situation where we actually would have stayed together and really would have been, taking that step to propose, then it would have been having that conversation. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, asking for your daughter's hand in marriage. I get that. That's tradition, right?
Mhm.
I do understand that. And that's really common courtesy because that's a
Right,
big
right.
step, big milestone in her life. But other than that, it's like, no, I'm not about to do that. I'm not gonna lie. I
Totally.
mean, I wasn't, I'm firm when I'm firm in what I believe in. If it don't make sense, now I will,
Mhm.
I don't want people to think I'm just stubborn and won't budge because I compromise a lot. Certain things, if it don't make sense or just based on principle, I'm not gonna do.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Uh huh.
Do you feel 100% the same? So as if your lady now parents wanted to just have that same conversation with you, the same meeting with you, would
Hmm.
anything change?
Yes, if they want to come up like my lady now, when we was at her family reunion a couple of years ago, and I told her
Hmm.
this, your uncle came up to me respectfully and had a
Right.
conversation with me, and we had a great conversation, right?
Hmm.
But you ain't, but what he didn't do was kind of sit over there like in the cut because my lady's father isn't really in the picture, right? So
Okay.
her uncles are really like her father figures, right?
Hmm.
So what he didn't do was kind of sit in the cut and like mug me. It was like I spoke to him, hey, how you doing? He sat down. He may have even called, asked me to come over there and talk to him, or he came over there and talked to me, and we talked and had an open conversation, and that's what it was,
Gotcha.
right? Certain thing, and that's fine with me. You know me, I'll talk to anyone, right? But
Right.
I'm not about to just go the extra mile, and you feel some type of way about me because I haven't, came up and approached you about your daughter, about just dating your daughter at that, right? So that's just, yeah, just, yeah, where I stand on it, man. So I would do the same thing if it was like that.
Okay. Okay. And
I would
that's
do the
totally
same thing.
understandable. Totally understandable, man.
Yeah, am I as stubborn? Like, and I'm the person at work, right? If I see someone having a bad day or something, I'm gonna try to approach them and talk to them and see how they're doing, ask how their day is going. I think we need a lot
Hmm.
more of that today, right? Just people in general. But if you looking at me mugging me because I ain't just came up and had a conversation with you, it's like, okay, that's gonna make me not want to do it at all,
Hmm.
right? But yeah, because and that's what really bothered me. I'm not that type of person, man. Like
Yeah.
I try to get along with everybody. I show respect to everybody. Mr. Empathetic. I really want to, make sure everybody is feeling safe and feeling comfortable, wherever they're at, right? But if you over
Right.
here got a problem with me, or you saying this like while I'm not around, not to say, he's soft or anything, but if you feel that way about me, come and say that about me. Come
Hmm.
and say that to me. And it ain't even about it going to be physical or nothing. It's just like, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Let's be
You know what I
adults
mean? But
about the situation.
yeah, yeah. So, that's just how I feel. But I did notice it's like a pattern of, people get worried when I'm around certain family members. And the way I look at it, tell your family members don't come at me like that, dude. Now, like my lady now, me and her family have, certain family members of hers. We know each other, we do joke and stuff, right?
Hmm.
So we can joke and play around, but once again, if I'm just meeting you, don't make that my first impression of you, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, don't say, "Oh, I got this person," and it's like, okay, like I hope you know, like I got people on my end too.
Hmm.
Like, what,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
where do you think
Totally.
this is gonna go? Don't play with me like that. We just
Exactly.
meeting, but that's just I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. So, man, but anyway, I talked to you about this. I saw a young lady, and you actually remembered her. But I
Hmm.
saw a young lady that we kind of grew up with and went to high school with earlier today, actually. And I remember her being in high school. She was a cool girl, and I can remember her. You know, the type of person that you meet when you're younger, because we were those people.
Yeah.
You can go either way, right? Your
Hmm.
life could go either way. And I seen her, and I just see that, you know, how you can tell that life is just taking a toll on someone.
Uh-huh.
Right, right. And I seen it, and I I have a good memory, so I just remember her and how cool of a person, how genuine of a person she
Hmm.
was. And she still is cool and genuine person, but you can just see life has taken a toll on her, man. And I remember talking to someone that she was with, and they was asking about her in high school. And I'm like, no, she was cool in high school. She didn't bother
Right.
nobody as long as you didn't bother her. She was one of the coolest people I knew, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She was.
And
She
then
was.
and then the person was like, yeah, she's still like that, but a little bit more, like on edge or something like that, the person said. And I told the person, I'm like, life, stress, have a way of has a way of doing that to you, right? And I hate to see it because a lot of people, and I really want to bring this, kind of like land this or whatever. A lot of people don't understand how much stress and the trauma that you kind of encounter from that stress or from situations, how much that can have an impact on you and your overall well being.
Yeah.
Right? And not only you, but your children as well, right? And just you could just see it. You can truly see it. And what I really want people to understand is you got to be intentional about all areas of your life.
Yeah.
work, you gotta make money, you gotta, make money to survive, right? Especially if you got a family, you gotta provide, but that don't mean you gotta stay at a job that's stressing you out or that's working you severely, right? Relationships is one of the main ones where we all get caught up at though,
Yeah.
right? Get out of that toxic relationship, right? You and I can probably speak to being in toxic relationships, and I
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
just say it wasn't all the other person or the other ladies that I was with, or the ladies that I was
Hmm.
with, right? I played a part in it too. But that stuff takes a toll on you, man. It
Definitely.
really does take a toll on you. And it's that, and it's just the little decisions that you make in your life that just kind of set you, takes you down that slippery slope, if you will. Right. And you and I we both have similar stories, but very different stories or whatever. What was it? Because we graduated high school, but we still don't have it figured out, but we still didn't really have no sense of direction.
Hmm.
And I did want to talk about at what point did you realize, and we were probably around the same age, same time, right? What point did you realize, okay, I got to kind of shift my state of mind. Something got to give. I got to really make a change in my life.
Man, when I got the chance to go down to Georgia, for
Okay.
them
And
few
you was about
months.
what, 19 at that time?
Yep, yep, 19. And I was able to
Okay.
go to college down there in College Park. So
Okay.
it didn't quite work out, and I ended up coming back after a few months. But when I got back, and I just looked, I remember when I got back, it was my brother's birthday weekend, and
Okay.
him and everybody was going out. And my brother, my brother don't go out much at all. He never have.
Mm-mm.
So I kind of missed it. Panisha didn't want to stay at home alone or something like that, if I remember. So,
Okay.
I remember I went to sleep mad, and I woke up the next morning, and my mama was in the kitchen. I was still living with my mom's, of course. She was in the kitchen, and I just took a deep breath, and I was like, "Man, this isn't it." Man. Like being down and going to school down there with so many different people, it was so diverse. I was able to hear
Mm-hmm.
so many different people's stories, their journey, what motivates them, what they want in life. Because at
Mm-hmm.
that time, I really didn't know what the hell I had going on.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
uh, I had got put out of high school. You remember, I was going to Kona Dope, and I ended up
Mm-hmm.
dropping out of Kona Dope because I was there for so long that I ended up being one of the oldest people there. And I was
Yeah,
looking
that's
around,
tough.
I was like, man, they end up taking me off the I call it they took me out of population and put me up there in that's what I called it. And put me
What is the
upstairs.
other word? The out of population to put you at PC or something. They
Yeah,
put you in protected
man.
custody or
Man, had
maximum
me in
security or something.
yeah, and that's what it felt like maximum because I went from changing classes, going to gym and all this. I was the oldest one, so they sent me upstairs to A plus. This is when they first introduced A plus, where you do the work on a
Uh-huh.
computer. So they put me up there and I'm doing the work on a computer, but it's self-teaching. So I was like, man, this ain't working. I'm up here with all Hispanics and foreigners. They barely speaking English, so I ain't got nobody to conversate with to talk to. So I'm
Mhm.
like, man, nah, this ain't it. So I end up dropping out, but I got the chance to go down there. So that's when it hit me. And I'm like, man, something gotta give. That's when I got the job at Target and I was working there for about 6 months. And then, once I left that job, me and Panisha ended up getting a spot. And that's when stuff
Mhm.
started changing. I got on the White Castle, became a manager. And I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
man, some gotta give. That's when it started shifting for me. It started
Right,
balancing a
right,
little
right.
bit more, and I felt like I was still behind because, I was going off of just survival skills and survival thoughts. Nothing was really playing. I ain't playing to be a manager. I ain't playing to work at White Castle.
Right,
I
right.
didn't plan to remember I was roommated with Courtney and his
And
baby
his
moms at the time. So, none of that was playing. It was just like, man, just going, okay, this sound good. Okay, boom,
Mhm.
this look better than what I'm doing now. So
Right,
that's
right,
kind of
right.
when it shifted for me at that point.
Okay, yeah. And you know what's interesting for me, and we've been friends since high school, right?
Hmm.
What's interesting for me, because my path definitely wasn't linear. because me in high school, I was some would say was the level-headed one, right? I wasn't, you know, partaking in any drugs. I
Yeah.
wasn't drinking at that time. I was like a good-hearted person, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Empathetic, didn't like to see people get bullied, respectful, right? So, and a lot of times people would see me as that person that was gonna, make it out the hood,
Mm.
right? And, graduated high school. I do remember that feeling of like, okay, graduated high school, the possibilities are
Endless.
limitless, right? Yeah. And then went to college, man, and just got a rude awakening. And it was really just like, okay, I wasn't ready for it. I
Yeah.
truly wasn't ready for college my first time around. And then some of our friends, because I'm a grade higher than you, so you were still in high school.
Yeah.
But some of our friends that were older than us, they both had already had a kid. They were chilling, right? They was
Mhm.
chilling at home with the internet, playing a game. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? It just sounded so fun versus being in school, right?
Mhm.
And then, we messed around and found the club, like a cool little club for us that we could go to every weekend.
That was wild.
And yeah, and it was tough for me to really learn how to be an adult. So I ended up
Yeah.
withdrawing from high school. I mean, not from high
From
school,
college.
pardon me,
Yeah.
from college. And then once again, I was 19 when I withdrew, and it was a good 3 to 4 year stretch when I used to think that just because I was a good person or that the work that I was doing, because now I'm working with, I'm in youth development, right? I thought that I was gonna be given something or gonna earn something just because of the type of person I was. And I just remember, I told you I've come to think that the universe continuously gives us lessons that we gotta learn. And I think the one for me was just I had to be brave enough to embrace change and to know when to leave. Because my first job working with kids, you know, I got let go out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Wasn't expecting it at all, right? Got let go. And at the time, I'm living with my family. We all are pitching in on bills. The economy wasn't the best. So it's like, okay, what is going to happen? What am I going to do? And it's like, man, I've been here, for over 3 years at this point with this organization. I'm always the one that's a team player, want to help. None of that mattered. They let me go, and I get it
Yep.
because it was, for budgetary reasons, but they let me go. It didn't matter, right? Let me go. Then from there, went to my former employer before I'm at the one now, and I started from the bottom. And I felt like I couldn't grow. I couldn't
Yeah.
get elevated. You got people, and it was all about, and that was when I learned that people will do the work when the right people are watching, but behind the
Mhm.
scenes they're not doing much of nothing. And that would really upset me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm the
Yeah.
one that's staying late. I'm the one that's always on time.
Mhm.
Let some, upper leadership come. They up in there speaking, hey, how you doing? And all of that. And so it's just like, man,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Politics of
think
the
that was what,
job.
yeah, the politics. That's when you learn the politics. So then that was when I learned like, okay, if I want something, I got to take responsibility into my own hands, right? Nobody's going to give me nothing. I'm going to have to earn it. And
Yep.
that was when I decided to go back to school, and it scared the hell out of me. I was afraid of public speaking. I was afraid of failing. I still to this day have a nightmare every once in a while that I'm behind in my classes, right? Like they
Damn.
call me or something, or I'm like rushing, like, yeah, you done missed. Yeah, you behind. So I still have that fear. I mean, not that, yeah, kind of that fear, but that those bad dreams.
Nightmares.
Yeah, and I want to get back to the original topic because we both have experienced a lot of severe stress. We both have experienced a lot of trauma. And I think we just made a decision, and we made a decision to commit to it. And we was like, okay, we're going to stick to it no matter what. And it's weird because I'm really trying to, I mean, of course it was like, okay, it hit us, but I really wonder, I think it did help that we was able to build off of each other and everything, right? And as we started to kind of go down this journey, some of our old friends we didn't hang around as much, and we had to. I'm not going to say cut ties, but it's like I'm not about to chase you, chase after you, bro. Right?
Yeah.
This is what we're on over here. But I really want people to understand that because it's a cycle that keeps repeating itself. Because at the time for you, you had your oldest son, and he was super young at that time. So, like the next 10 years or so for you was critical, right? Because
Yeah.
it go from, him possibly struggling in a household or whatever the case may be. Now he's living relatively well, better than we grew up in a
Mhm.
nice community, go to a nice school, getting to experience a lot of things that he wouldn't have experienced if you would have still been in your same situation or
Right,
haven't
right.
progressed too much further, right? Do you see
Mhm.
the difference between your son, DJ, and some other kids his age of some people that's maybe still from our old neighborhood? And let me make it clear,
Yeah.
it's not to down anyone. It's really, if you're not gonna make the change for you, you should think about how it impacts your children as well.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely it does. It does, man. And then, it's sometimes you can't see the impact, so that's why I don't judge people for the, situations they in. But I just use my life. I knew if I
Mhm.
would have stayed in the same situation, in the same environment, same predicament, my child would have grew up similar to how I did, if not worse. So it was, it was easier for me when I, think about my personal life to and compared it to, the life I wanted him to live. But then again, none of it was planned. I used to have the thought process like you, like the type of person I am, something's gonna fall in my lap. Something's gonna,
Right, 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 right.
it's definitely gonna work out for me, And I had too many situations where that's not true. So, I had to just put my foot in the ground and say, fuck it. I don't know if you can remember, I used to say I would never work in a warehouse or a factory, you know.
Maybe when we were like when we was like teenagers, maybe or early
Yeah, like,
adulthood.
I always thought I would be in the office, suit and tie, briefcase,
Mhm.
that's what I imagined for myself, of course, but life, it just didn't work out that way. So I had to go to a warehouse, a factory, just to make sure,
Mhm.
that he have the type of living that I want him to have.
Right. Yeah. And I will say both of us kind of, how can I put it? Like where we are exactly right now wasn't planned to a T, but I do know one thing is for certain: we wanted change and
Hmm.
we started taking those steps. Now, where those steps were going to lead us, we didn't know. But we knew
Yeah.
we had to, work hard. We knew we had to, okay, kind of change our habits a little bit,
Hmm.
right? We knew we had to be mindful of how we spent our time, right? And we knew we had to get out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
All of those things. And at the time, I'm going to be honest with you, I couldn't see it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? We couldn't see what it was going to lead to, but we were trying. We were meeting with people,
Yeah.
reaching out to people, talking to them, and the more you're around it, the more information you pick up, right? And
Hmm.
then, yeah, we both went back to school, and I was shy as hell when I went back to school,
Yeah.
right? I was nervous, didn't speak too much, none of that, right? But the more you're around it, the more confidence you get, right? And that's all for me. That's all it takes is hearing it. And I can remember one of the things that changed my perspective of how I viewed myself and my classmates. It was one professor, and she was discussing. It was either our like uh like essay, like our answers to some essay questions or a paper, right?
Hmm.
And she was talking about people was different, giving different perspectives, and then she brought my name up. And she was like, yeah, Jeremy's answers and his perspective was really good too, or whatever. And hearing that and hearing, like verbally hearing that in college, in a college course
Hmm.
around a bunch of my classmates who are professionals, got leadership positions or, whatever the case may be, right? It's like, okay, I do belong in the room with
Yeah.
these individuals, right? But I never would have heard that if I wouldn't have went in the first place.
Hmm.
Right? And I didn't know that all I needed was to hear that to gain that confidence
Yeah.
that I needed, right?
Hmm.
But you don't know until you get yourself out of that comfort zone. And I think for a lot of people, you got to get yourself out of your comfort zone, right? A lot of people, therapy in our community is, taboo,
Yeah.
right? We don't talk about it. It's getting better, but still, if you really want to get better, want to work through that trauma, therapy is a very good option, right?
Definitely.
But it's uncomfortable at first. I'll speak for that. It's uncomfortable going in there like, okay, what is this gonna be like? Am I gonna be laying down on a
On the
on a
couch.
couch how you see on TV and they writing stuff or whatever? It wasn't nothing like that. It was just like talking to two individuals, but it helped me so much, right? But I really want people to that seeing, the woman that we went to high school with, it really did make me want to just talk about this topic. And like you said, not judging anyone, but trying to use like your children. This affects your children as well as a motivator, right? And it really makes me want to get back out there and kind of, I'm starting to host like some coaching sessions, right? Because I feel like what the steps that I took and you took are very similar. And I
Hmm.
do think if people follow them and stick to them, I do believe they can achieve success in their own right. Not to say they're not successful, but they can shift their mentality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's achievable. That's what I always tell people, and I want them to know. And I do understand coming from their perspective, some of your goals and your level of success in your mind seems so far away. It seems like it's unattainable. You can't reach it. It's impossible. But it's right there. And sometimes I gotta keep telling myself that, keep reminding myself, because it's levels to it. If you look at us and you compare us to where we came from, some put us, levels up or a level up, however they view it,
Yeah.
but we still not at the level we want to be at when you compare
No.
us to, someone else. So, we
Mm-hmm.
still got to be reminded no matter what level that you are on, no matter if you're at the bottom, in the middle, or at the top. And I gotta keep telling myself that, like, my goals are attainable. I can reach them. They are literally right there.
Yeah.
All I gotta do is just take that step forward and, go ahead and, whatever needs to be done, go ahead and take care of it. And that's one thing
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
people lack, just the knowledge that it's attainable.
It is. And you really got to go for it and you really got to commit to it and you got to really change your habits and you kind of
Yeah,
got to change your environment. One of the tough decisions that you have to make is choosing to be around loved ones that you grew up around or whatever the case may be that aren't on the same path as you.
it's
Not
very
to say you
important.
got to completely remove yourself away from them, but you got to be mindful of how much time you're spending with them.
Hmm.
Right, and that's all it takes. Even still, like, I kinda have a fear about that now of being in a place where just, being around people, whether it's friends or family, and something pop off, and now I'm in a situation that could affect me and what I have going on, right? So you gotta really make those tough decisions, and it all come down to, like, what do you want and how bad do you want it,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. And
But yeah.
you mentioned changing your environment. That's very big.
Mhm,
Because when I moved to Rutherford County, that made a big difference, just like it did when I was in Atlanta. Changing your
mhm,
environment is very, very important. I'm sure you remember when I first moved to my neighborhood, I used to say that they operate like it was Scissorhands. Everybody get up at the same time and go to work, come home around the same
mhm.
time. On the
It's
weekends,
structure, yeah.
they all cutting their grass at the same time or washing their car at the same time. You got the kids
Mhm,
outside playing around. In my neighborhood, it's kind of changed a little bit, but it's still, pretty close to it. But you have a lot of people, a lot of families who have their own businesses, and they come out in their
mhm.
work vans and they work trucks and they food trucks, and that's what got my mind on just thinking more about self-employment also. I tried so many different things when I first moved up
Yeah.
here, just trying to find my niche. I remember
Mhm,
I was right after the moving company. I had got a few clientele, and I used to go pick up their boxes. But after they moved to dispose them, because if they live in an apartment complex, they don't have a trash compost or a recycling bin just for all them boxes. I tried that. Like, I was just trying different things until I,
yeah,
found my
yeah.
niche, and it was based off of the environment I was around. But if I was still in an
Yeah.
environment where no one is on that level, no one has that thought process, no one is moving like that, then my mind would have been stuck into, to match my environment. So that is something very big. In the same
Yeah,
way,
and make no
with the kids.
make no mistake about it, because I don't want people to think, you should just leave or forget where you come from. If I had it my
Mm-mm.
way, there would be services in our old community and those alike, just collectively to help people kind of elevate themselves, right? I
Yeah,
want to see that eventually. My dream is to have something like that, because I do believe we are stronger together.
yeah.
I just want us all to. I want to see everyone win. I want to
Hmm.
see everyone heal, right? I want to see everyone thrive. So I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
want to be clear
definitely,
about that.
definitely.
I don't want us to, distance ourselves away from people, but at the same time, we do got to be mindful of our time, right? I'll talk to anyone we grow up with and try to encourage them, as long as I can. But at the same time, if I don't see you making that effort, then I got to I'm not going to say I'm going to completely pull back, and I'm always be there for you if you want to, if you are thinking about maybe shifting or
Hmm.
doing something different, but I can't spend all of my time and all of my energy trying to help you,
Nah, nah,
right? But
nah,
I will do the
definitely.
best I can,
Because our
you know.
neighborhoods that we grew up can be thriving exactly like how I explained. You don't have to, totally remove yourself. But if there majority of the environment has that mentality where where crime isn't viewed as a bad thing, the safety of the
Mm-hmm.
children isn't put into perspective or even considered, then that's when you have to make the decision
You do.
to move around and change. But like if you could create a program where you can restructure or create an infrastructure in our neighborhoods where we can still be
Mm-hmm.
around our people but still thrive to a level of success that we wish to be at, then that'll definitely change it. At the time that I
Yeah.
moved, at the time I moved away, it was still, very high crime area.
Yeah.
Any type of crime you can think of went on. So that's when, me thinking about raising a child, I just didn't want to raise a child in an environment full of,
Mm-hmm.
negativity and crime. So, there's no knock to no one, we talk about where we came from. My mom's still there. My brother's still there. I go visit them.
My
I love
family.
being around my people that I grew up with. I love seeing, old faces. But just
Mm-hmm.
to that's just my opinion, raising my son in an environment that I don't agree with, it just,
Yeah. Now at the
you
same
know,
time, we can still work and do our part to try to change and try to do our part in, I don't want to say completely change in a perfect world change, but try to help the environment that we come from, the
hmm,
community that we come from. But at the same time, you do gotta raise your son as well, your daughter as
yeah,
well, right? But yeah, it's tough. But yeah, I would love to see everybody win. But I do want people to understand the impact that the stress, the continuous stress and trauma, and make no mistake about it, because we're stressed, right? We
yeah,
deal with stress, but stress, feel a little differently when, you at least at home, right? You are, is at least home is your place of peace. At least you like being home, right? At least your environment at home is peaceful for the most part. And it just looks a little differently. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just want people to really understand that, and it's never too late. And you also should really think about it for your kids. And for me, I don't have, biological children, but I do it to inspire. And I do need to get out there and do some more hands-on work with people, right? But for now, at this moment, I do it for myself, of course, but for my family members, the younger ones in my family. If they see someone that went to college, they see someone that's, working in a professional setting or whatever the case may be, that is at least the bar for them. And also
hmm,
another important aspect of it is I'm still myself when I'm around them,
yeah,
right? So this ain't no uppity family member that's now looking down on you now that I've kind of broken through the fourth wall, right?
hmm,
This is a family member that you can still joke with, still have a good time with, right? Now I've
right,
changed up. I have changed up, but I'm still, at my core, the same. This shows that you can do it too, and you don't have to completely change who you are to do it, because that was another fear of mine. I remember being in college the first time around, and that's something else I was worried about was losing myself in college. I don't know what type of thought that was, right? That was a very immature thought, but I was worried about like really becoming an uptight, uppity person,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But obviously that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
Because
nah,
I
not.
want them to show that you won't you will change for the better, right? But you still
Mhm.
won't lose who you are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm glad you mentioned that it was an immature thought. So, we really don't like to use the word change because we are still ourselves. We evolve, but your thoughts, your decisions are more mature. So
Mhm.
if somebody take the way you used to be and say you changed, the only difference is you're not doing childish things anymore or immature things
Right.
anymore. You're not having
Negative
those
things
or
or
negative
toxic
things
things.
or toxic things. So it's just maturing that we've done. You can't say what you used to say 10 years ago. If I sound like I
Mhm.
did 10 years ago, then, I wouldn't.
What they say? If the man, I am butchering this quote, but if a man acts
Mhm.
the same at 40 that he did as he did at 20, then he wasted 20 years of his life. And I know that's not the
Definitely.
exact quote, but
Yeah.
some along those lines.
And I
Yeah.
totally understand, I totally understand that. So, and that's basically what I'm saying, if I still talk the same or act the same or even think the same, I truly wasted all that time between that age and the age I am now, you know.
Right, right, right.
So yeah,
So
we
yeah,
definitely still ourselves.
I will say to anyone that's listening to this, just get out your comfort zone,
Yeah.
take that leap, but also like I'm pretty active on social media. I'm getting into my career and success coaching. Like reach out to me if you don't know where to start because I
Mm,
will, point you in the right direction, right? But yeah, definitely let's start and let's get better together.
mm-hmm,
Man, I did want to talk about this, man, because we are in the South.
mm-hmm.
Outkast got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right?
Yep, yep.
I did want to take a couple of minutes to really talk about what Outkast meant to us growing up,
Mm-hmm.
right? And just the South in
Icons.
general, icons, right? Yeah, I mean, because you talk about a lot of what you hear growing up. And I tell people not a knock on Jay-Z, but I didn't hear a whole lot of Jay-Z being played in cars, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like, because it was universal, it was like, okay, we know Jay-Z is great. You go
Yeah.
hear his play on the radio, even down here. But I do remember Outkast being played a lot,
Mm-hmm. Heck
right?
yeah.
And as I got older, they represent me in a way, Outkast, right? Because,
Yeah.
I've always felt like you always felt like an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to just really give them a shout out. Just, yeah, and just some dope individuals, man.
Yeah.
Dope
Yeah.
individuals. Even in the media, not that I can recall, I don't remember hearing anything bad about neither Andre Three Stacks or Big Boy. Do
Mm-mm.
you?
Nah, nah, they definitely got respect all the way around the board. Even now, when you
Right.
have a lot of people doing interviews and they talk about the past, anytime their names get mentioned, is aligned with greatness every single time.
Right. And make no mistake about it, that don't mean they were soft either.
Mm-mm.
Right?
Nah, nah, nah.
And that's kind of how I try to live my life. I'm gonna be respectful. I hope people, when they think of me, they think of good things and respectful
Yeah.
things. But also, like, please, like, I don't mean you can just come up and try me, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Once again, not a tough guy by any means, but let's just be respectful to one another. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think, yeah, that's them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are like some dope individuals. So many hit songs, so many hit records, so many
Yeah.
iconic verses. I became that much more of a fan of Andre 3000 when he was on the Kanye West song Life of the Party. And he was
Okay.
rapping about his late mother.
Mm.
And that song came out right around the time that my mother had transitioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that song just hit a different level. I became that much more of a fan of Andre 3000.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Andre was he definitely is pretty dope. And I became a fan of him, listening to him growing up. I think I heard their songs before I even knew who they were, of course. Coming up
Hmm.
in the late '90s. But when Andre 3000 jumped on that, I think it was the two step remix or was it the
Walk It
two
Out.
Walk It Out remix. Yeah, when he came on that, I
Yeah.
believe that was the first time I ever heard him like just rap straight out. You know, of course,
Okay.
like because like when his other songs, uh, Sorry Mick Jackson and everything, he's rapping, but it's so much harmony in those songs.
Right,
Like
which is great. It's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, it
great
was
sound. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Idlewild and all that. Like they was all beautiful songs. And I know they truly rapped in the 90s, but I was too young to really process it. But when I
Hmm.
heard him on that, like really rap and flow, I was like, damn, because I always consider Big Boy like my favorite. Big Boy was always my
Uh-huh.
favorite, growing up.
I think he was universally most people's favorite for a while.
Uh-huh.
He was more relatable than the two at the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I heard him on that, I was like, damn. And then when his acting career took off, like while we was in high school and everything, like late middle school, early high school, I was like he's that dude, he's that guy. Of course, Big Boy always just been in the cut doing his own thing. He
Yeah,
appeared on
cool, smooth
ATL.
dude,
Yeah, yeah,
charismatic.
yeah. And when he appeared on ATL, that's kind of when I looked at him as like a street guy. I know it was a
Hmm.
character, but as you do your research, you learn that they come from the
These dudes
streets,
got
no
a
doubt.
past.
They do have a
Yeah.
past. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I tip my hat off to them, all respect to them. They deserved it. They deserve a lot more. And I love when people receive their flowers while they're here. I love it.
Yeah, that's something we got to do more is celebrate our icons, our legends, right? And I really love to see that. And one thing, because I don't know if you noticed, Andre 3000 didn't perform
Hmm.
when they were honoring them. Did you notice that? He did
No,
get up and do the acceptance speech. I don't think he performed,
okay.
right?
I didn't see no performance or anything at all. I ain't catching none
Yeah,
of it.
they did a tribute to him, but I believe Big Boy was up there performing. Andre 3000 was in attendance, but he didn't, if I remember correctly, because
Hmm.
I didn't watch it live, but I seen clips of it on YouTube. And I did want to say this because this made me appreciate, but also sympathize with Andre 3000 more. And I found this out a few years ago.
Hmm.
Did you know Andre 3000 was clinically diagnosed with social anxiety and a hypersensitivity disorder? Did you know that?
Yeah, like all that came up when he dropped that
What, the flute
album,
album?
the flute album. Yeah.
Right, right, right. I can't remember the actual name, but
Yeah, I can't either, but it came up, around that time a little bit after that. That's when I first heard it.
yeah. And it really, and I remember seeing a video with someone explaining that it was a woman, and then I was telling my lady, because she was like, I
Hmm.
wonder why he didn't perform, and he has a social anxiety, he
Hmm.
got diagnosed with social anxiety, and it's amazing, and that's why I want people to really just kind of be mindful when they interact with individuals or what they say about individuals,
Hmm.
because you got Andre through 3000, who was a legend in our
Right.
community. So many people love him. I'm sure you can't find too many people that would say something bad about him, right?
Nah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
just about everyone can agree he's one of the most talented MCs that ever graced this earth, right?
Hmm.
And even he is subconscious about himself. And no matter how great someone is and how many accolades they've achieved, when they're not feeling well inside, it's nothing that you can do and you can't
Uh-huh.
understand it.
Hmm.
And from the outside looking in, it's like, yeah, I don't get it, man. He's great. I would have been up there celebrating. It's like, yeah, but you're not him, and you don't know what he's
Right.
battling internally, right? Andre 3000, icon, is dealing with social anxiety, not trying to be around too many people. Right? You wouldn't think it. He
Right.
performed. He
And then when you
around
think
people,
about it,
and
it's easy to think differently because he's been doing it for so long. A lot of people have that
hmm
mentality like, he should be used to it. But like you said, you don't know what he's going through. You don't know the level of it, the extent of it. You don't know what caused it, when it flares up, what causes the flare up. You have no knowledge and no idea about it to even make a statement like
right,
that.
and he lost his mother and his father, I believe, not too far apart. Right. So they passed. And so that's something that could have triggered it. Right. Not to mention alcohol and drugs may have played a part in him
Right.
coping with it back then. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so much. And that's why I try to tell people I don't try to discredit anyone who's battling something. mentally, right? Because I've had my own mental health battles. But that is a great example of you never know what someone is battling internally. Even someone that appears as if they have it all, like a Andre 3000, right? You just don't know what they're battling. And a lot of things may seem like everything to us, but a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, once they make it, it's just like, man, this don't mean nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And yeah, I really do want to give a shout out to Andre 3000 and him and Big Boy, of course, really did make an impact in the South. I'm sure they know that, but I really want to
Yeah.
say that again for Andre 3000, who probably doesn't feel it inside and has to,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, right? Because I don't know him. But if he's anything like me, you constantly got to battle those intrusive thoughts in your head, right? The imposter syndrome, thinking everything happened by mistake, whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. But I do want to tell Andre 3000 how much of an impact he's made, and really hope he continue to thrive and keep his peace, regardless of what anybody say. Right?
Yeah. 100%.
So I did want to, yeah, yeah, man. Real quick, last thing I want to talk about, and we don't have to talk about it too long, but it's so much beef in the media, right? I seen something with Stephen A. today. I think her name is Michelle Beadle, said something about him, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not, mispronouncing her name. Uh, yeah, Stephen A. Smith, man, I did not. He went at Michelle Beadle for about
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes straight. I did not know that a man could go at like someone like that
Yeah.
for 30 minutes straight without like degrading her, without talking like calling her out of her name or anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just giving his opinion, the straight facts, not glorifying it, because I really do hate seeing people continue to go back and forward in the media, man.
Mm-hmm.
Between him and Michelle Beadle, he said something about Carrie Champion. I believe Charlemagne the God and Roland Martin. So many other people have been going at it in the media, and I understand us as humans, it's unrealistic to think we can't get along. It's unrealistic to think we can get along. Everyone can get along. I really do hate seeing people go at it, go back and forth in the media, and then to bring it down to our level. I really hate to see people argue and go back and forth on social media,
Yeah.
right? I really hate to see it, and you don't understand. You have more than likely have kids. The people you arguing with have kids. They're gonna grow older and have to see this, man. And I really want people to think about that. We can't control like millionaires, those are millionaire problems, right?
Yeah.
But relating that to us, people like us, because I seen it a few times this week. This person got beef. These two people got beef, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really do want people to be mindful of that. And if you have a problem with a person, have a private conversation with them, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it do us no good as just as a community. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? I don't know. What you think? Tell me what you think about it.
I totally agree with you, especially with the social media on our level. When you talk about Stephen A and them, they live in the media. So no matter
Right,
if
right.
it's good or bad story, it gets them views, it makes them money. So sometimes it's hard for
Mm-hmm.
me to believe what beef is real and what's not when it comes to, the people who actually live in the media, who we call media, you know, just based off of their job or whatever. But when you come to social media, on our level, I totally agree. They also do it for the likes. They also do it for the attention, and that's what bothers me the most. That you do this for these things, the likes, the views, and everything. You're not even getting paid over it. You're not making any
Mm-hmm.
money. It's permanent, so it's going to stick there. It's going to be there forever as long as social media be around. So even when you try to change, evolve, or be somebody different, you got these footprint that lead back to the way you used to be and the thought process you have. And a lot of times, it's just pointless because they can take something this small and make it this big just to make it sound
Mm-hmm.
good on social media, you know. And then that's what a lot of
Yeah,
times a lot of
man.
people
And
get
it goes
hurt
back.
because they deal with someone, you catch these rare moments where someone who makes it so big deal with someone who just don't deal with it. And then nays get physical. They catch you out somewhere where you thinking it's okay and it's
Mm-hmm.
cool and they mind is on something totally different. They on go mode. They ready to get at it. It's on site with them. So, a lot of times, people just don't consider the outcome.
They don't. And, not for nothing. If you're beefing with someone online, if something actually does happen to this person, who do you think the police are gonna, one of the first few people the police are gonna question?
You're the main suspect. And can you come with me? Come down to the station.
Right, right. Whether you did it or not, it's just not wise. And once again, once something is on the internet, for the most part, it's out there forever, right? And you got to think about your kids, and when they grow up, they may see this. That's how you
Hmm.
should operate, right? And I'm just, once again, the older I get, the more I value my reputation, but also my family's name. My last name is Jennings. I also represent my father's last name of Green. I got some Martin family members. You know what I mean? I got some Pierce family members. Whatever I do in life, I'm representing them as well, right? The older relatives and the younger relatives, right? And I
Hmm.
think that I don't want to ever do anything to kind of embarrass them as well, right?
Right.
And once again, on social media, we all, make mistakes. We all slip up. But yeah, once something's on social media, it's out there forever.
Can't change
But
that.
yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Yeah, with that being said, I was talking to, the other homie, Eric, about this earlier. And
Hmm.
you want to know one of the few people that I would not want to beef with or go to war with online?
Yeah, I can just imagine who you talking about.
It's funny because I don't know if you can.
Fifth?
No, bro. You want to know who
Who?
it is?
Who?
You know a lot of my secrets, like outside of family members, when you think about it, and that's how I don't get how 50 and Floyd, Cam and Mace, Cam and Jim Jones.
Yeah.
I don't
I did
see
not
how they
expect
do it,
that.
and then get back cool. Because I didn't think about it till he said, "Could you imagine if you and I legit was beefing and going back and forth online, the type of things that we would say about each other that we know about each
Look,
other?"
you look at me here, this motherfucker. You
Man, look,
Hey, yeah.
type it up in all capital letters. I'll type it on my phone.
Man, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good point, though. That's a damn good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
hilarious though, because once again, you know where all the bodies are buried. I know where all your
Mm-hmm.
bodies are buried. Know all the secrets. You know what I mean? It would
Yeah,
be rough.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And but speaking of them, I seen an interview with Ja Rule the other day. I
Uh
forgot what
huh.
he was on. I feel like it was with a couple of guys who have a sports podcast, to be honest, if I'm not mistaken.
Hello, Anthony. It's 7 p.m. in Brooklyn or something along those
Yeah,
lines. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
Carmelo
yeah.
Anthony and someone else. Yeah.
And I came across it and I heard him like I thought it was a pretty mature moment. I don't know if he's trying to save grace, I can't determine the reason of his perspective, but when he was talking about Phil, it wasn't no shade. I only caught a clip, about a 5-minute clip of it, so I can't tell you what the rest before after was. But did you get a chance to see it? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, I did see it, and he talked about how both of them kind of, set a trend or
Yeah.
something along those lines. He did kind of mention that 50 copied him. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And he talked about that, I believe, on My Expert Opinion. He was talking about how people got like bamboozled. He referenced
Yeah.
like y'all let this dude tell y'all ice cream was nasty,
Yeah.
and then he sold all of y'all ice
I
cream. And
seen
what he
that
was
one too.
referencing was, yeah, yeah, like y'all. He tried to make it seem like singing on the track was corny, and then he started singing on the track and all of that,
Yeah.
right? With them, and now go ahead.
I'm gonna say I heard that one in this interview. Yeah, he kind of flipped it a little bit, and it was like he was like he kind of gave him credit. Like, I'm not gonna knock his hustle, but that's exactly what he done, saying that
Hmm.
it ain't cool to sing on the songs to the ladies and all that. Then you look up, he did the same. So I can't knock that. Despite everything he have said, I appreciate when people have their perspective. No matter what the situation is, give credit when credit is due. Because if that was a hustle for 50 Cent, he mastered the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, and now them two are different because they legit. from my understanding, had real beef,
Yeah.
fights, some stabbing, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
people say that Ja was somewhat involved in him getting shot, right? If not directly, indirectly, right? So
I hear
I
that.
can understand. It wasn't, it was, I mean, I don't know. Allegedly, it was not him, it was the
Mm-hmm.
people that he was with, meaning, because Ja Rule was a musical artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the people that he was, moving with, who
Yeah.
was really in the streets, are the ones, that hit 50 Up or had something to do with that, right? And it's like, but I don't like I wasn't there.
Of course.
I don't know, allegedly, but that's what it was. Now what I do know that happened, both of them have talked about this, is, they got into a couple of fights. One, it was in Atlanta, you know what I mean? And they got the boxing one on one. And then the next time was Ja and them ran up on 50 and Yayo in the studio or whatever. And 50, that's where 50 got stabbed, right?
Mm-hmm.
50 bluffed him from what Yayo said. And he was like, hey, what a get at? Pass me the gun. And then one of the individuals this was on BET Beef back in the day too. The individual black
Okay.
child, from what they said, I remember him saying that he was just like, I wasn't about to let nobody get to a gun and shoot me, so I just started poking dudes. You know what I mean? So that, from what they said, did happen, both
Okay.
sides, right? Now the shooting, that's what a lot of people say or whatever. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
So, and even 50 said it.
Now, go ahead.
Now I was just gonna say 50 said, he said Hamo shot me 3 weeks later. He got shot down or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and I believe the person Hamo was connected to someone that was connected to Ja Rule.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? But that's what they say. But
Yeah.
Ja tell you, I never said I shot him. You know. So
Of
I
course
don't
he
know. So
gonna
I
say
do
that.
get it if it's violent, and yeah, if it's violent like that and certain things you can't come back from, that's why it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I can understand if y'all never be cool, long as y'all ain't beefing at this point and trying to, hurt one another. At this point,
Right.
y'all both are still successful in your own right. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. But I did see that, and Ja is kind of past it, and it is mature because in this battle, 50 won,
Yeah.
right, and 50
Josh
still
shouldn't have
winning.
even tried to go up against him though. I'm mad at him for that shit. Like, you had a nice career and you was in your own lane, He was in his own lane. Only like I think, around this time, R. Kelly wasn't, I think R. Kelly kind of merged into his lane also. Because coming through the 90s, R. Kelly was doing his own thing. But when you came into the 2000s, he was doing that, the harmonizing with the rap, or, the singing with the rap. And that's how I kind of like compared him to
Hmm.
his style, that new style of his to Ja Rule's. And when Ja Rule just,
Yeah.
started falling off, of course, well, he didn't even have to fall off. R. Kelly was R. Kelly, kills is kills. But it just made it easy for R. Kelly when, by the time we got I'm a flirt and same girl and everything. It was all R. Kelly. If he was just
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
stuck with his guns and let 50 be 50, even if y'all beef out of the media, trying to bring it to the media, man. That's what he fucked up at. I'm assuming.
Because you already got this perception of you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You got this perception that you are the rapper that makes love music. You got kind
Yeah.
of like, tough music or whatever, but it's really what really people know you for is the combination of R&B and rap, right?
Hmm.
And it's tough to kind of shake that perception. I'm not gonna lie, because Clap Back was a nice little record for
It
me,
was.
right?
It was.
Clap Back was a nice little record, and then when he came with New York was a very big record. It just don't look right coming from Ja Rule, right? And yeah, so he should have just, yeah, in hindsight, he probably should have stayed in his lane where he was at and let them talk. And what hurt, I believe this is what happened. If he wanted to get at him, but
Mm.
Eminem was kind of like, no. And Ja Rule, I believe, actually kind of dissed 50 first, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Okay.
And he said something about Eminem's daughter in the song. You know what I mean? Do you remember that? He said something like Eminem was a cokehead, and I think the mother's a known slut, so what's Haley gonna be when she grow up, or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I
I
think 50
remember
Cent
that,
was
but
kind of like, yes, yes. Now
that's
he,
all he
yeah, now they
needed.
gonna let me get at him or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know, but they were young. They were young.
yeah. And then with Ja
It's tough,
Rule,
you know.
I know I can understand you being so high, and thinking that, this
Hmm.
won't impact you. Of course, you can't predict the future. You can't predict the fans. You didn't know who was gonna side with who. I do understand that. And I think that's kind of, the reason he went like that, came at 50 like that, thinking that he was above him, he was more superior, it's not gonna hurt him, so on and so forth, and stuck his foot in
I
his mouth.
mean, and to be fair, I can see how you would think that, right? Because at the
Hmm.
time, 50 is one of the top rappers in the game, right? On the streets, he's moving with the toughest crew in Southside Jamaica, Queens, right? And can you imagine though, like the resiliency from 50 Cent? And can you imagine just I wonder what they were thinking, right? Because in the span of what, a year or two, you go from being on top, this dude is a nobody to you, right?
Hmm.
50 is a nobody to you in a way, right? To now, I mean, to him also, don't forget he got shot and it was looking like, you didn't know if he was going to make it or not.
Right.
He got shot 9 times. Oh, yeah, his career's over. To him not only surviving,
Hmm.
but linking up with Eminem and Dre and becoming the biggest rapper in the game himself. Can you imagine? Like, this dude is, yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This dude is here for a reason. This dude is just destined for greatness. I wonder what that's like, though, when your op is like, you got your foot on their neck
Hmm.
and, all these things is going in your favor, and then he just rise up. And
Yeah.
he came back even stronger. He got shot
Hmm.
in the face, man. Got shot
Yeah.
9 times, or what they say. Got shot in the face, and not only came back, but came back even stronger.
Hmm.
Came back in better shape. Came back a machine. Can you imagine from their perspective? Like, all right, this dude, if they did allegedly try to take him out, they're like, it
Right.
ain't no stopping this dude, man.
Like, you won't die. Yeah, man.
No, he
Yeah.
just won't. He won't stop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can just only
Yeah,
imagine, man.
so,
Only
but
imagine.
but both of them got hits, though, man.
Hmm.
But yeah, I say that to say, if it can be resolved, resolve it. If not, try to be cordial. I'm just, let's, if you have a problem with me, come and talk to me. Let's talk. If we can work it out, great. If not, then yeah, let's go about our separate ways, right? And at
Definitely.
least be cordial when we see each other and not on sight, right? With that being said, Derek, I'm letting you know I don't want no smoke with you, man. You know too much about me, brother. You know too much about me. I don't want no smoke with you.
Man, I ain't blowing no
I don't
smoke
want no
but
smoke.
this
You got it.
vape. I'm good, my damn self.
Yeah, yeah, you got it, man. You know too much about me, boy. You know too much about me. Yeah.
Nah, man,
So,
we good,
but
man. We
nah,
we too
man.
mature for that shit.
Nah. Yeah. But nah, man, for sure, man. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your week. We
Same to
still
you.
striving, still striving, like you said, to achieve even higher goals that we've achieved. One of them is continuing to try to grow this platform,
Definitely.
regardless if we get one view or if we get 1,000, 10,000, we still got to show up and we still got to go to work tomorrow. And we were
Heck
still
yeah.
at work earlier today, right? So, got to sacrifice time, right? So, but yeah, bro, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I'm gonna get up with you later on this week.
Yep, yep, yep.
So, yeah, man, spare no effort, man.
Spend no effort.
All right. If you like what you just heard, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, SNE 2.0. SNE stands for Spare No Effort. All we're trying to do is help people become the best version of themselves. So please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and remember, spare no effort.